Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. The new group has kicked off their 20th anniversary season with a riveting new production of David Rabe's Tony Award-winning play Sticks and Bones. Under the direction of Scott Elliott, the cast includes Bill Pullman, Holly Hunter, and welcomes back to the New York stage Richard Chamberlain. And I caught up with all of them here on opening night. Why Sticks and Bones? It's as relevant as today as it was then, but what a great way to kick off your 20th anniversary season.
Yeah, I thought so too. It felt like when I reread it, I thought, oh wow, this play is so new group. And of course, David Rabe is, one of our family, and it just felt so, I don't know, I read it and I was blown away by it. It's a bear, and I was looking for a great challenge for all of us, and that's what it was.
David said new group is the closest thing to him when he worked for Joe Papp, were the kind of plays that he did at the public back then. I mean, it is a bear of a play. Was it a challenge for you to direct, or how did you dissect the play with David, or how did you work on it?
Well, I try to work in a way that's, I try not to have too many preconceived notions and sort of like put together the people and then paint, and see like what you come up with. And that's sort of how I approach it. It's a hard play to sort of say, oh, we're going to do it this way. We had to sort of discover what our tone was. Because it's a very tricky play. It walks walks the razor blade of life, and so it was really about that, figuring out how to play it, and that's what we did.
First of all, welcome back to New York. Thank you for bringing Sticks and Bones back. How do you feel tonight?
Pretty darn good. So, yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful cast and a beautifully directed play, and it seems to be doing very well. So, I mean, I'm quite thrilled by it.
Take me into the rehearsal room, what it's been like being back here at the new group and rehearsing this play with this brilliant cast under the direction of Scott Elliott.
Well, I've been here the whole time. Up until the end of the first week of preview, I was in rehearsal for the whole, starting on September 15th. And it's like one of those rehearsals where you see the talent level coming to the surface slowly but surely, and the devotion that they bring, all of them, everybody across the board. From Bill to Holly to Ben and Morocco and Nadia and Richard, of course, and I don't know if I'm forgetting, Raviv, is a wonderful, but you work and you watch and you say this or that, but you listen and Scott asks a question, you say this, and the process is just, and you let them do their work, and then the technicians, the designers came in, and all that started to happen in tech, and it was each time, I think the tech in this is really marvelous in this production. The complement of the way the set works and the lighting and the sound and the projections and the costumes, it's all quite wonderful. So I feel very fortunate.
What's the whole experience been like working in the rehearsal room with David Rabe and Scott Elliott?
Yes, it's been a wild ride for me. It's just been, a wonderful master class for me, watching everybody and just absorbing all of everybody's energies, and I've learned so much on this journey, and I feel so blessed to be here.
Because you listen through the whole play. Absolutely. I mean, that must be amazing to do as an actress.
Absolutely, and every performance is different, and every show is different. And so every show, therefore, is different for me, because I'm just there and absorbing everybody's energies and everybody's experiences, and therefore my experience every night is going to be completely different.
No, I love that, because you react so much with Ben, and then with Bill and Holly, so you sort of maneuver your way through the show, so it does change for you every night.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm just, I feel very much just like a thread of this environment, and whatever happens tonight is going to affect what I bring to it and how I absorb it. So yeah, I'm just so excited to see what this next month and a half is gonna be for me and for everybody else, because every night's gonna be different, and every show is gonna be different, and I think the show is gonna grow, and I'm gonna grow with it.
Look at you! It's opening night. How do you feel?
I feel so good. It's such a wild beast that we've taken on, right? And to feel like we've figured out that beast as a group is magic. That's what the theater is. Yeah. And to be able to rehearse for 5 weeks and then bring in front of an audience and then have that change, it just feels so good. And it's a piece that makes people think, and we have people that stick around every night and just want to talk about it, want to talk and talk and talk, and that is the point of what we do. So the fact that we've accomplished even a piece of that feels just amazing.
You know, the friend that I took last night, we sat there riveted. We could not get up. And I've seen the play many times. It is just as electrifying as it was originally. What was it like having David Rabe in the rehearsal room while you were working on this?
I mean, David Rabe is one of the greatest American playwrights, and so not only to be able to work on his words, which are poetry, but to have him in the room and rooting you on. And, you know, for funny pieces in the play, you rehearse for 5 weeks and you start to lose the laughs because it's your stage managers there listening to you. And David kept laughing, and it made us feel like we were on the right track. You know, when you have your writer who you have a proven piece of work that's won a Tony, that hasn't really been done since, there's pressure there. But to have him there rooting you on is just the best feeling, and he's just the greatest.
What has it been like working on this play?
Wow, it's been a nice journey, man. You know, and watching Bill and Holly, Raviv, and Ben and Richard, and just the whole cast has been amazing. Just to watch the journey of it, because it's a very difficult play. It's a very, you know what I mean. So, and good actors and a great director makes it make sense. You know what I mean. It really just brings it all out.
Let's talk about your role, because you set this incredible tone to what the Army and the service meant back then, you know, the military, about how they controlled everything. Talk about this man that you play.
I play the Sergeant Major, and he brings Dave home from Vietnam, and, you know, he's blind, brings him home to a family, and he's dealing with PTSD as well as blindness. So it's my job. That's my job. That's what I do, and I bring him home, and it's, you know, you have this, you know, there's this military stance you have, and then there's also this sympathy that you have for him. So it's a really hard juxtaposition.
Welcome back to the New York stage. How does it feel?
Thank you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be a part of this wonderful, wonderful show. It's a great play and an incredible cast. I mean, Bill Pullman, Holly Hunter, it's unbelievable. I feel very grateful.
How did this all happen for you to come back in this play?
I don't know. My agent called me and said, I hear they're doing this play. Would you be interested? I said, absolutely. And so he contacted the casting lady, and she said, well, I'll talk to Scott and David. And Scott and David said, oh, good, yeah, that's okay. And then it just happened. It was really amazing. Out of the blue. Yeah.
So what has it been like working? This is such a wonderful, riveting play. It's as relevant today as it was when he wrote this in 1971. Tell me what you love about David's writing and having David in the room with you while you're rehearsing.
David was wonderful. I've never been in rehearsal with the author before, ever. And he was a wonderful presence. Totally unobtrusive, but had wonderful things to say about, you know, this and that. And he's such a lovely man. But rehearsals were very, very exciting. The play is difficult. It's incredibly complex. It's wonderful. And it's funny, and it's tragic, and it's everything. And to see Bill and Holly and everybody, and Ben and Raviv grow into this play was very, very exciting.
What's it been like working on this play?
It's been a trip. It's been a real roller coaster. And I think kind of right when we started out, the first kind of press gig we did, I remember Bill saying that it's like being put into a washing machine on like spin dry, and then kind of coming out the other side, and that's really what it feels like. It's a real roller coaster, this project.
Talk about this role that you play.
You know, the role, it's a really interesting role. I think every night I'm finding something new, I'm finding something different. I think there's a lot up in the air as far as at what points David is a construct in other people's kind of psyche. And so exploring that has been very, very interesting and really exciting, yeah.
And what you love about the play itself and how relevant it is today?
I mean, I think the fact that it is relevant today is very exciting, and it's one of the things that got me initially very, very interested in it. And I think also it's not something that you read every day. It's not something that you see every day. It's a very challenging piece. I think people leave the theater asking themselves a lot of questions, and that's exciting. Yeah.
Having David Rabe in the room with you during rehearsals.
Yeah, it was, at first it was a little bit nerve-wracking. But then you realize that David, you know, he's really there to serve this production, and he was an amazing resource, an amazing source of encouragement and inspiration. Yeah.
and working with this cast.
Unbelievable. One of the highlights of my career. I mean, completely just everybody has been phenomenal and extraordinarily inspiring, and it's been a masterclass.
Welcome back to the New York stage. How do you feel?
Well, I'm just thrilled to be doing a David Rabe play. I'm thrilled to be doing something as ambitious and as dense and as glorious as his writing. You know, it really keeps the actors so engaged, and it keeps us coming back with great enthusiasm.
Because I know that you and Bill Pullman talked about, should we do this? Should we take this journey?
Well, you know, it's so interesting. This play, and I don't know if you know this from having such a history with it, but this play, David's stuff is meant to be done. It's meant to be performed so that you see it and you hear it. To read it is a whole other experience because of the density of the material. It's a far more complicated read than it was a play to rehearse.
Talk about this role. What can you tell me about her? What you love about her?
Well, I think that she is a great believer of family, a reveler of family, somebody who that's where she's most vivacious, most alive, is surrounded by family love.
Talk about the relevance of this piece, how well it stands up today.
Yeah, I think, you know, we have a different level of discussion about trauma from war that we, you know, because of the sophistication of science and medicine now for soldiers. But at the bottom, you know, the bottom line is that families get impacted increasingly, and lots of times there's already been trauma in the family when somebody comes back. So I think there's a lot of relevancy to it.
Yeah. Let's talk about the play itself, what you love about the words and how it's all structured.
Well, this is a wild play that has a lot of elements. It's you know, it has a very naturalistic heart, and then it's got a farcical heart, and then it's got like a macabre fugue state heart. So it beats all those hearts and weaves in and out of them for 3 hours. So it's an epic, you know, big American story.
And talk about Ozzy, what it was like, you know, rehearsing him and now playing him.
You know, I grew up in Western New York State in a small town, and there were a lot of guys living in the 50s and 60s that I remembered very vividly when I was starting to take Ozzy into me. And, you know, I remembered that all of the contradictions that they lived with. And it was the greatest generation, but it was also the challenged generation, you know.
You took your bow tonight. Do you remember what you were thinking?
Oh, well, I remembered that I was the one that architected the fact that David and Scott was going to come up. You know, I said, we're going to give them one rose. Holly, you give them the roses. And I wondered if they would come. So the bow was first, I was looking like, are they going to come? And down the aisle they came. And David is a shy person in a lot of ways, and he's humble. And it was so great to see him at 74 getting some recognition.